It's over. It's over. Knicks fans, this is not a dream. Your long wait has ended.
It's official. The Knicks' run to a championship was the most watched basketball moment since the end of the Bulls dynasty in 1998. So by now, you've all seen the grit and resilience that drove this Knicks team to basketball immortality. But now we have to talk X's and O's, because my mind has been fixated on strategy ever since I saw this.
Brunson looks, Brunson drives, Brunson shoots.
Freeze it. It's winning time in an NBA championship elimination game, and no one is playing help defense. Again.
Brunson off the bounce, gets inside, leans in, right hand.
And again.
Brunson gets away from Castle, the floater's up and good.
Why isn't anyone playing help defense? Wait a minute, did I see this even before that?
Brunson on the drive, the floater, bank shot, it's good.
You mean to tell me that the best playoff defensive scheme you've got is good luck out there, you're on your own, and we're not sending any help? It's Jalen Brunson. We know he wants to shoot. How did we get here? I'm going to tell you how we got here. Long before the sports media and Becky Hammon recognized Jalen Brunson as a 1A option, opposing defensive scouts were treating him like one. And that's why, as early as a month into the regular season, teams were copying the 2025 Pacers defensive strategy on Brunson. Trap him early and make him work. The moment it looks like a screen is coming, just jump him. It makes sense. He's an undersized point guard and he uses a ton of screens. And that gives you a built-in opportunity to send two at him and scramble out of it. Plus, last season under Tibbs, the Knicks didn't really seem to have a pressure release when Brunson was trapped. So if you're Mike Brown and his criminally underrated coaching staff, you know that you have to fix this, and you have to fix it quickly. Mike Brown was determined to exercise the Knicks' 2025 trap demons early, and he did so by installing a pressure release in the opening week of the NBA regular season. The Knicks have solid personnel for this, so the mechanics are pretty simple, but the spacing is diabolical. 3 Knicks, Cat included, are locked low to create as much space as possible for the screener. The screener is a guard who ghosts the screen and then basically does a drop step into open space. This is called a short roll. Trap us if you dare, but we're going to flow into a 4-on-3 if you try to do it. When the trap works for the defense, great. And it did work 16% of the time. But that number is far less sexy when compared to the fact that Jalen Brunson's teammates shot an effective field goal percentage of 67.5% on possessions where he was trapped. You heard that figure correctly. If you didn't force a Brunson turnover immediately, the floodgates opened. Let's put it a different way. The Knicks knew how they were going to be scouted for this playoff run, and they eliminated their opponent's best option before the playoffs even started. Now look at me. I'm telling you this first because it's really, really important later. Remember the Ghost and Short Roll series. Got me? Oh yeah, that high shooting percentage by the wings that I was mentioning before, it's worth talking about here because it's not just an anomaly for when the Knicks break a trap, it's all advantage play. The Knicks developed a number of different ways to generate an advantage, and those advantages culminated in great looks for Hart, OG, and Bridges, all of whom shot nearly 50% from the floor in the regular season. Their first 3 wings off the bench, Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, and Landry Shamet, all shot above 42%, so there wasn't a significant dip no matter how deep you went into your resources. If you ever sent more than one resource at Jalen Brunson, you were immediately playing with fire. This leads us to important observation number 1. The Knicks wings are dominant in advantage play, and they do not need the basketball to create the advantage. That's pretty unique for a set of NBA wings. So if you do want to send 2 at Brunson, you have to be really creative about it. It's sort of crazy to look back on this run and remember that the team that woke the proverbial sleeping giant was the 6-seeded Atlanta Hawks. But when the Hawks took 2 consecutive nail-biters from the Knicks, they did so with the most unique defensive game plan that Jalen Brunson saw all year. Check out Alexander Walker's defensive positioning as Deuce hands off the ball to Jalen Brunson. You see how he's looking right at Brunson and ignoring Deuce? That's because he's prepared to jump Brunson, old school run and jump style, if Brunson takes this sideline and tries to attack. Now on this play, it doesn't matter very much because Brunson's going to shoot a pull-up. But here's what it looks like when he does try to attack. As soon as a secondary defender sees Brunson's back, they run right at his back while the primary defender tries to cut him off and turn him back into that trap. And it's actually brilliant. Brunson can work through a trap near the half court because he has so much space and more vision. But trap him in the trees and he can't see his teammates. It mystifies me, by the way, that no other team in the playoffs tried this after they saw the Hawks do this and win 2 games, but that's a different conversation for a different day. This scheme creates an interesting challenge for Mike Brown, but Mike Brown has been on a staff with a productive undersized point guard before. You know, that one. And in Game 3 of the Knicks-Hawks series, Mike Brown traveled back in time 10 years to move the Knicks into the future. Watch the Knicks open up Game 3 in a 5-out set. And in this look, they again invite the trap a la the Ghost short roll series, but this time, a guard is not ghosting. It's Cat. And once Cat has the ball on a short roll, all sorts of zany stuff happens. First, a delayed dump to OG for an easy slam. Then, when Towns lifts to the high post, they run a flex screen with Brunson as the screener.
Another one of the additions later on in the season. Back cut Anunoby. Inside. Got rid of Johnson for the dunk.
So the Hawks smarten up and they start to apply more pressure on Cat so he can't easily pass. But there's one small problem. He's Cat.
Conway defending on Towns. Carl Anthony going left.
This package looks eerily similar to some of the plays run during Mike Brown's time in Golden State. They'd find Draymond Green in either the short corner or the top of the key, and they'd run split action away from the ball. One player always cuts to the rim, one player always flashes back to the ball. From there, they just trust Green to hit the open player or flow into a handoff or screen. Now, Green is an exceptional passer, but respectfully, Cat is a way bigger offensive threat. So once it was clear that Cat could consistently hit the open teammate, it was a defensive death sentence. The Hawks could not even come close to stopping this package, and the Knicks won 3 straight games by an average of 33 points. Now, before we go any further, we should acknowledge how absolutely insane it is that a team busted out a new offensive wrinkle in Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs. Now, here's something even more insane. They tried the Cat package out in random games in the middle of the season, and then they hit it. It's early January. Cat has an uncharacteristically bad game on the road against Detroit, and I assume behind the scenes he's being challenged to take on more of a facilitating role. The next game is on January 7th, and the Cat package is rolled out against a totally unsuspecting Los Angeles Clippers team, and they kill the Clippers with it. Seriously, do these plays look familiar? Well, so does Cat's stat line in this game. He flirts with a triple-double. Okay, well, once is an accident, and I suppose twice is a proof of concept. Let's see if he can do it again in their very next game against the Phoenix Suns. Oh, yes, he can. Cat can dish the ball very well. Good to know. Now, unless Mike Brown straight up tells me, I will never know if this was true sleight of hand or just a happy accident. But after the Phoenix game, the Knicks slowly fade away from using this offense, almost like they want you to believe that they gave up on it. Now, given the Clippers and Suns personnel, it does make sense to use it against them. They both have a true 5 defensively, and that true 5 would really struggle to stay in front of Cat when Cat's on the perimeter. With that in mind, do you think Brown's original plan was to keep the Cat package in his back pocket until they saw either Boston or Philly in the second round of the playoffs? And do you think that Atlanta was actually so good that they had to bust out the Cat package early? Well, the Knicks bookended their 4-game sweep of Philly with 2 35-plus point blowouts, so I think the answer is yes. Important observation too. If you take a resource off of Cat to stop Brunson, Cat becomes one of the most versatile forwards in the NBA. And this, by the way, is a pretty neat thing to know if you're, say, the head coach of a team trying to lead them to their first championship since the Nixon administration. But that's with Cat on the perimeter. What happens if you get into a situation where Cat has to play big? So now it's time for the Cleveland series, and the Cavs immediately throw a curveball at the Knicks. First, check out Brunson's defender. That's Dean Wade, a true forward. He's picking up Brunson and he's ignoring all help responsibilities. Then you've got Evan Mobley, their longest and most athletic player, a slasher, on Cat. He's applying relentless ball pressure, and he's not going to help off of him either. Oh, and they're switching ball screens. So if Cat is screening for Brunson, there's no relief. So it's late in the second half of game 1, and after shaking off about a week's worth of rust, the Knicks adjust again. They lock Cat down low, and they use guards to screen for Brunson until a weak defender is on him. And because the basketball gods really loved me this year, that defender was James Harden. Over.
But still trailing. Brunson banks at home.
And over.
Fakes. Drive, gets inside. Pull-up jumper. Got it.
And over.
Brunson with Harden on him. Brunson on the drive. The floater bank shot. It's good.
And over again.
Brilliant in that fourth quarter. Drives, gets past Harden, gets inside. The floater's up and good.
This barrage of uses and refusals all play by the same one rule. Whatever help decision you try to make on Brunson, he makes you pay for it. Help off Cat? Good work, dummy. You can't do that. He's Cat. Help off a wing to stop Brunson? In your face, James Harden, you did it again. So the Knicks realize the pattern and they complete the game 1 comeback. But they drive the final spike in game 2 when they realize, hey, wait a minute. If a guard is guarding Cat, doesn't that mean we can just attack the big on the wing? Yes, we can. Oh, and wait a minute, if we do that, can't we just use Cat to attack the mouse in the house? Yes, we can do that too. The Knicks break the Cavs so badly that the Cavs start playing a trapping 2-3 zone. And guess what the Knicks run against that high trap? You betcha, the ghost short roll. They dominate the Cavs wire to wire and shoot an effective field goal percentage of 65% on 28 assists and only 8 turnovers. This balance of pace and patience completely stuns the Cavs. And the final 2 games of this series play out more like an inevitable Knicks win than a competitive basketball contest. So the Knicks are now Eastern Conference champions. Watch your thumbs, Josh. And they feel less like a basketball team and more like a featherweight boxer who is capable of taking every punch you have until you can't even lift your arms anymore. And then they start throwing their knockout blows at you by using the offense that they built during the regular season while no one was paying attention. But this has to be too much of a fairy tale, right? It's not like the Knicks can repeat that exact formula against the longest and most athletic team in the league who happens to have a literal cheat code protecting the rim, can they? The best part of game 1 was watching San Antonio's sincere belief that the Knicks would have to adjust to their style of defensive play, and then watching that belief vaporize over the course of 48 minutes. The Knicks open the game in the Cat package, and Cat dominates Wemby. Then they take Wemby off of Cat to be a rim protector, and Cat becomes a bulldozer in the paint. It's a very big deal that Cat gets going early because it sets up the most important discovery of the series. The same Wemby who sends everything packing in the first half runs out of energy after having to deal with Cat for 3 quarters. And when Wemby gets tired, you can take him. First, Wemby blows a help assignment for an easy layup. Then the Knicks run the Cat package. The ball eventually gets to OG, and OG drills a 3 right over Wemby. Then, with the game on the line, Wemby gets so hyper-fixated on Cat that he leaves Brunson alone for a rhythm 3 to seal the outcome. Game 2 follows a lot of the same beats, with the biggest one being that Wemby cannot stop Cat by himself, and neither can any of his teammates. The consistent battling with Cat again wears Wemby down, and Wemby starts falling victim to one-on-one attacks on the perimeter. This exhaustion hits its peak on a now infamous Wemby turnover. He brilliantly contests and rebounds a mid-range Brunson jumper, only to throw the ball away with an errant pass. So the Spurs have to change something, and with their backs against the wall, they decide that their best course of action is to freeze Cat completely out of the game. Anytime it looked like the Knicks were going to run something for Cat, he was fronted by a guard with a big shadowing him. If by some chance Cat did get the ball, he was pressured by the guard, and the shadowing big abandoned all other defensive responsibility with a shadow double. The Spurs were prepared to run a 48-minute defensive scramble drill to every other pass as long as Cat didn't get to attack. Largely because of this scheme, they snuck out of the Garden with a Game 3 win. And the momentum stayed on their side in the first half of Game 4 when they could not miss a shot. But then the comeback happened. And what fueled the comeback was the Knicks once again using a team's help defensive strategy against them. Check out this transition play with Josh Hart leading the break. Fox steps up to keep the Knicks from running the offense through Cat. Wemby can't leave Brunson. What's open? OG cutting. Cool, next play. Keldon Johnson overextends on Cat. Now he gets to occupy two people. Cool, what's open?
Brunson tries a three-pointer. That's good.
Next play. Johnson loses Cat in transition. Wemby doesn't know what to do because Cat actually got the ball. Cat package to OG.
Anunoby tries another three.
Cool, next play. Two people staring at Cat on an inbounds play. What's open?
Barnett checks in. Hart tries a three. Hart hits a three.
Cool. The Knicks pepper the Spurs with so much good pace and space basketball over the next 16 minutes that the unthinkable happens out of a media timeout. The Spurs start trapping Brunson. Now don't tell me, are the Knicks gonna... Stop it. 2 consecutive makes off the short roll action with Alvarado, who Mike Brown brilliantly puts in the game to be a secondary ball handler against all the Spurs scrambling. History repeats itself, folks. And just like Brunson knew that the short roll would work, he also knew that Wemby was tired.
Shot clock at 5. Brunson fires up a three.
Bang.
Puts it in.
And now, of course, we pause for a moment of OG Anunoby appreciation.
Him to operate at the top, 101. Brunson gets it, fires up a three. Shot no good. The tip, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
Emotionally exhausted? Who, me? So now we're at the crossroads. You're Mitch Johnson. You've literally tried everything. And the Knicks have broken everything you have. So Mitch Johnson comes out in Game 5 and decides to bet it all on black. We're going to pressure everything. We're going to switch everything 1 to 4. We're going to chase over everything with our 5 and drop. We're going to have solid positioning off the ball, and we're not helping on any drive ever. 4 wings, 1 Wemby, and if they want to beat us, they have to do it one-on-one. And if they beat us because Jalen Brunson scores 45 points beating us one-on-one, so be it.
Game 5. Shot clock at 8. Wemby on Brunson. The 2 stars. Brunson off the bounce, gets inside, leans in, right hand, and he backs it home. Brunson looks, Brunson drives, Brunson shoots, ties the game. Brunson gets away from Castle, the floater's up and good.
Perhaps it makes more sense to you now that last summer, when no one wanted this job, Mike Brown just raises his hand and goes, I'm pretty sure I could help these guys win a championship like right now. This combination of incredible planning and preparation took a team that already had the togetherness and mental fortitude to win a championship and empowered them with the offensive strategy and structure to actually execute it. The fact that all roads led to Brunson winning this championship for the Knicks in isolation play was just the unbelievable cosmic cherry on top. Much like in the biblical tale, David didn't slay Goliath in an upset. He slayed Goliath because he was more experienced, he planned out the fight, and he executed his plan. And it turns out Goliath got a little bit tired. That is the degree to which the Knicks out-everythinged everyone in this magical playoff run that we're never going to forget. From the gritty post play to the electric wing play to a different member of the bench delivering every single night to, of course, the coronation of a now all-time great. The Knicks didn't just win this one for their rabid fan base. They captured the imagination of every basketball fan in the country.